In this video, we are going to look at complex reflections. If simple reflections stay close to what the client already said, complex reflections take one careful step beyond it. That extra step is what makes them powerful, but it is also what makes them more difficult. A complex reflection adds something beyond the client's exact words, but it is not random interpretation, and it is not guessing. It is a reasonable extension of what the client seems to mean, feel, or imply. A useful way to think about this is a strong complex reflection often sounds like the next sentence in the paragraph. The client has not said it yet, but your reflection captures something just beneath the surface. For example, imagine a client says, "I know smoking is hurting me, but I just feel less stressed when I do it." A simple reflection might be, "Smoking helps you relax." A complex reflection might be, "Part of you wants to improve your health, but right now, smoking also feels like one of the few ways you can cope with stress." Notice the difference. The reflection takes one small step beyond the original words, but it still feels connected to what the client actually said. The important word here is grounded. A complex reflection should come from the client's words, tone, and immediate context. If you add nothing, the reflection stays simple. If you add too much, it starts to feel like mind reading. The goal is a small and believable step forward. Complex reflections can do several things. They can highlight emotions that are only beginning to appear. They can reflect both sides of ambivalence at the same time. They can intentionally emphasize part of the client's experience to help move the conversation in a useful direction. The important idea is not memorizing categories. The important idea is understanding that complex reflections are selective and intentional. Now let's look at common mistakes. The first mistake is not actually being complex. Sometimes a reflection stays so close to the client's original words that it is really just a simple reflection with different wording. The second mistake is overreaching. If you add meaning that the client has not really given you, the reflection can sound forced or disconnected. The third mistake is turning the reflection into a question. A complex reflection is still a reflection. If your voice rises and the sentence becomes a question, you give the work back too quickly. Complex reflections matter because they help clients hear themselves more deeply. A strong reflection can highlight emotions, sharpen ambivalence, or strengthen change talk that was only beginning to emerge. What you choose to reflect receives emphasis, and what you emphasize often grows. So when you practice complex reflections in AIMIE, the goal is not to sound clever. The goal is to make one grounded step beyond the client's words that helps them hear something important more clearly. Stay connected to what they said, extend with care, and make the reflection sound like something the client could recognize as true. That is the skill you are building.